Alright guys, welcome to a new series. What if I was reincarnated as Vegeta? You all voted for it, and I'm excited to get it started. So with all that being said, let's get to it.
I'd be asleep in bed like most days, dreaming about being able to fly and doing all the cool stuff they can in Dragon Ball. But it was just a dream. But as I woke up, suddenly I was in Vegeta's body. With Nappa and Vegeta first landed on Earth, I looked around shocked as Nappa blew up the city because I couldn't tell him to stop, because I was just in shock. Nappa looked at me and said, "Vegeta, you're alright? You're looking kind of funny." I couldn't even put words together. I couldn't even talk. I just mumbled, "This can't be real." And then I
To myself, this must be a dream. It can't be real. There's no way it can be real. I looked at Nappa and said, "Pinch me." Nappa said, "What? I need to make sure if I'm dreaming." Nappa said, "You must have had a weird dream in Kaio's sleep," as he went over and pinched me. I felt a bit of pain, but that means it's real. I couldn't believe it. I sighed and looked at Nappa. "Well, I guess we should meet with the others. Let's not destroy anything here." Nappa looked confused. "What are you talking about? Aren't we here to..." Then I pointed at the scouter, and as Nappa took it off, I took it off too. "I have a plan to defeat Frieza, and it involves the people in here." Nappa said, "There's no way the people on this planet are strong enough with that. Not yet, but if we train, we can get stronger. If we boost each other's power with the Zenkais, we can become more powerful than ever. It's time that we train like we've never trained before, Nappa. Instead of just wiping out planets, we push each other further." I guess they are stronger than Raditz. Nappa did like the idea of training, but he didn't think he'd take on Frieza. "I still don't know about this plan, Vegeta." "Oh, just trust me, Nappa. We have the element of surprise. You'll never expect it." I guess that's true. Nappa reluctantly agreed and decided to go along with me, so we used our scouters and sensed everyone. As we arrived, they all looked at us ready to fight, but I said, "We're not here to fight, we're here to team up." Piccolo said, "Like we'd fall for that trick." "No, it's true. I really am here to team up with you guys, so we can defeat someone way worse than me. Someone who controls the entire universe and will come for Earth eventually." "Who's that?" "Frieza, our boss." Thought about Frieza, my mind shivered. It was scared and angry. It's like this body had an effect on me. I looked at them and said, "We need to use the Dragon Balls to bring back Raditz so we can train." So Krillin says, "So you're just trying to trick us so we could bring back your friend?" "No." Nappa says, "I'm tired of this. Let's just beat him up and wait for Kakarot and convince him to join us the hard way," he said. But then I put my hand on Nappa's chest. "Don't you dare do that." He sighed and said, "Fine, but you're acting weird, Vegeta." They all looked at us, and Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan, they could all sense my ki. My body was still evil, but my mind was pure. It was weird. They never seen anything like it. But they decided to reluctantly agree. Because, well, I'm not attacking them, so not like they can do much else. So we waited for Goku to show up, as they got the Dragon Balls and brought back Raditz. Suddenly, as Goku would show up, he would see Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta, and everyone there, but they wouldn't be fighting. They would just be waiting for him. Raditz says, "I don't know why you brought back Kakarot. He was weaker than me." I smirked and walked away. He's not anymore since he has the... I almost said Kaioken, but I didn't want to blow away my cover or make people suspicious of me. Since he was dead, I bet he trained in Otherworld. Didn't you? Goku looked at me and said, "Yeah, how did you know?" I figured even nothing would keep a Saiyan from training, not even death itself. Goku would then look at me, walking up towards me, and I would look at him nervously, as my heart began to beat. Damn it, does he sense something off? He didn't even meet me yet. It's impossible for him to think something's off, right? But then Goku smiles and says, "Wow, I was expecting you to come down and try to kill us all. This is a pleasant surprise." I would have to try to sound like Vegeta so Nappa and Raditz wouldn't be suspicious, so I thought about what I was going to say, and then, "Listen, Kakarot, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here because we need your help to defeat Frieza. He's an evil tyrant who wants to rule the universe. And by my prediction, he's probably already off somewhere to Namek, since we talked about the Dragon Balls. So we should train and send ourselves to Namek so we can battle Frieza. But before we do that, we need to get a lot stronger. Hey Kakarot, I would think I knew about the sensu bean, so this should work. But I never really felt this bad of pain before. Can you shoot me in the chest with a ki blast? You have healing tanks or something on this planet that can heal us, don't you? Goku looks at his sensu bean and goes, yeah, but are you sure about this? I mean, I just met you. Kakarot, there's something called a Zenkai boost. When a Saiyan almost dies and heals, they become much stronger. We're gonna have to exploit these through training and hard work and beating each other up to become much stronger. Now blast me in the chest. My guard is lowered. Goku would simply put his hand on my chest and blast me. As I fell down, my chest bleeding. I've never felt pain like this before. I began to cough up blood. I was shocked at the burn and pain. Goku threw me a sensu bean. As I ate it, I healed and got back up. And I got a massive Zenkai boost, and I began to smirk. Excellent. Now this will come in handy. So we began to train. As Bulma's dad made a gravity room, we chained in that, and he was building a spaceship, so we waited for the spaceship to be finished. Piccolo and the rest of the Z-Fighters were suspicious of us, and Nappa and the Raditz were getting a bit annoyed at how it's acting, but we were getting a lot stronger because of the training, so they didn't really complain too much, at least not to me directly. However, I would be training in the gravity room intensely. The spaceship was almost finished. I was still training in the gravity room to go forward, but there was still some final touches they needed to put on there. However, I could hear Nappa and Raditz talk about me from outside. As they began to talk about how they got a lot stronger because of me, but could they really take on Frieza? And why am I acting so nice? Raditz says, you think Vegeta's gone soft? Nap would go, no. He's just using these people to get stronger than ever before. We've never really trained, we just destroyed planets and got Zenkai boosts, but through this training, we become more powerful than I can imagine. And with this power, we can defeat Frieza. And when that's over, we can wipe out these pathetic Earthlings. Raditz smirks, and I listen, saying, oh god, they're not good yet. Of course they're not. Sighing, but then suddenly I would hear someone walk up behind me. As I looked behind, it was Bulma with an iced tea. I figured you would use this. Consider you've been training a lot. Don't worry, they can't hear us. You can only hear them. I made it so it's soundproof inside, so that way it doesn't travel outside since you'd be a bit noisy. So, how are you doing, Prince? I would drink the tea and look at her and say, fine. So, they told me about you. You were gonna come here and wipe us all out, or at least that's what they thought, but now you're training with us to defeat Frieza. What is Frieza like? I looked at her and said, he's a tyrant, an emperor that wants to rule the universe. He enslaved my entire race and made us wipe out planets. Bulma said, so you never really wanted to do that. I really didn't know what to say since I was, trying not to blow my cover, so I just looked at her and just looked away. She said, I'm sorry you had to go through that. As I thought, it's fine. I didn't really have to since, I got reincarnated or whatever the hell happened to me. I looked at her and said, it's fine. Well, if you ever need help, let me know, Prince, she said as she laughed and walked away, and I blushed. But I got her out of my head, as I knew that if I played my cards right, I could bag Bulma. So, after drinking some tea and taking a break, I went back to training. As the days passed, the spaceship was ready to go. Decided that all the Saiyans would go. That includes me, Goku, Nappa, and Raditz, but Piccolo and Krillin should also come along. I wanted to bring Piccolo because he's one of my favorite characters, and I still want him to fuse with Nail. And Krillin, so hopefully he dies and Goku turns Super Saiyan, but I wouldn't tell anyone about that. But there's a problem. We want Gohan to go, but his mom won't let him, so I decided to talk to Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi was at home with Gohan as I opened the door and said, can I bring Gohan? She said, so you're the man, aren't you? The man that suddenly came down and was supposed to kill us all, but then you changed your tone. I'm glad you're not going to hurt us, but you cannot bring my precious boy. And she began to yell at me, and I got scared, so I just grabbed Gohan and flew away as fast as I can as she yelled. Gohan said, I just said I didn't want to listen to her banter, so I just took you. Ready to fight? Gohan nodded. As I put Gohan in the spaceship, we all began to launch off into space.
Nappa said, "Are you sure he's gonna be there? We mentioned the Dragon Balls to make sure he will be there. Frieza won't see us coming. Once he lands, we will all attack him. And with the Namekians on our side, we should wipe the floor with him. We've been training like we've never trained before, and even when we're going, we're still gonna train. We're stronger, better, smarter, faster, and can use way more techniques than before. Frieza won't stand a chance, I say." But in my head, I'm like, Frieza's easily gonna kill us. I hope Goku turns into a Super Saiyan. Please turn into a Super Saiyan. Please turn into a Super Saiyan. Then I think maybe I can turn into a Super Saiyan. I just need to access anger. Anger I've never accessed before. Could I do it? Could I reach that level? All I could think about was, could I become a Super Saiyan? Could I push myself? I just didn't know.
We would be in that spaceship for months, training on end, pushing each other as far as we can. Eventually, though, the spaceship would land on Namekian. Arrive a little later than the actual timeline, but Frieza still wouldn't have the Dragon Balls yet. There would still be some villages holding out. As we all looked around, I would be the strongest, and I would say, we need to take out Frieza's men before we beat him. But first, we need to collect at least one Dragon Ball and hide it, so he can never find it. They all nodded. As Boma pulled out the radar, we could see where it was, so Goku and I hit our power levels and flew over, while the rest of them looked for Frieza soldiers to destroy and thin the herd a bit. As we flew, Goku looked at me and said, "Thank you for doing this." Oh, you're welcome, I would say. This Frieza guy sounds strong. I can't wait to fight him. I would just sigh. Goku would say, "Is there something wrong?" "No, Kakarot. Let's just get this damn Dragon Ball." I would land down at Guru's place, and they would look at us and sense that we were worthy. Well, he sensed that Kakarot was worthy, but me, my body was still evil, but my mind was pure, and he really didn't know what to do with me. So he just kind of let me in because I was with Goku, and, well, it was an emergency, and he can sense I'm not here to hurt him. So Guru then unlocked our potentials, as I got the Dragon Balls, and we all decided to go back. As me and Kakarot went back to the spaceship, we saw the rest of them there, but then suddenly Zarbon and Doria both landed. Raditz smirked and said, "I managed to lead them both out here." Zarbon and Doria said, "Oh, why would you do that? We're just gonna kill you all. Unless, Raditz, you're playing for our team now. You're such a weak, pathetic little..." Before he can even finish talking, Raditz just flew up and punched Zarbon straight to the floor. He got up and said, "How could that hurt? Your power level, it hasn't changed." Raditz began to laugh and say, "We have the ability to hide our power levels now, and sense energy without scouters. I merely lured you two away from Frieza so we could all kill you." I smirked and looked at him. "Seems like we're gonna win. Good, Zarbon and Doria are pushovers with our powers now. We just need to worry about Frieza." As I was just watching them fight, suddenly Dodoria would fly straight towards me. "Prince, you bastard!" I would kick him, sending him down to the floor. As I got up, a bit nervous since I have actually fought before, Mr. Doria simply just kept looking at me. As he got up, I simply just hit him again and kept knocking him down again and again and again. Everyone was looking at me. Goku was smiling because, well, I wasn't killing him, and Nappa and Raditz were mad because they killed Zarbon. They're wondering why I'm not killing Dodoria. Dodoria gets up and says, "That's it!" and blasts Ki Blast after Ki Blast after Ki Blast right into my face. But then I laugh like Vegeta would. "Oh, is a little pink man upset?" As then I punch his stomach. As my hand goes through his stomach and I launch a Ki Blast, I see all his guts fly out. I almost throw up just watching that. As I just sigh. But at the same time, it felt good, like my body wanted to do that, like it enjoyed causing him misery, like I felt he deserved it deep down. Nappa smiles, saying, I told you he hasn't gone soft." Goku says, "You should have gave him a chance." I would say, I wouldn't even talk. I would simply nod. As the rest of us decided it was time to fight Frieza, finally.
But just then, we sensed it. Power levels coming our way. I knew it had to be the Ginyu Force. Alright, The Ginyu Force are coming. I heard a rumor that Captain Ginyus can switch bodies, so watch out, I said. As they all looked at me, Nappa said, where the hell did you hear that? I have my ways, I said, smirking. As in my mind, I'm like, crap, maybe I shouldn't have said that. It's okay. We can just skip the whole Ginyu taking body part
of the show out of the equation, so yeah. But without that, we should still be powerful enough if Goku turns Super Saiyan. Granted, Goku will get the Zenkai boost after Ginyu steals his body and gets wounded, but, you know. Eventually, though, the Ginyu Force would arrive, and they would all fly towards us. As Captain Ginyu would say, Prince Vegeta! Ah, I'm glad you can make it here. And you got such big friends. You're doing a little coup d'etat, a rebellion, that's so cute. I would say, Ginyu, it's time to meet your maker, as I would fly towards Captain Ginyu and punch him. Then he would punch me, and we would both begin the battle. I was way stronger than him, but I was still getting used to fighting. All I really did was train a bit, and spar here and there, but not like a full fight. Unless you count Dodoria, but I just destroyed him. So we continued to push each other further and further. As that was going on, the rest of the battle continued. Gildo tried to freeze time, but Nappa was too fast and cut off his head. As they battled each other, Goku and the rest of the Z Fighters noticed that the Saiyans were ruthless. Nappa and Raditz didn't show any mercy. However, as the Ginyu Force was losing and Captain Ginyu was getting pushed further back, he eventually said, change now! As I flew out of the way just in time, expecting it, and I punched him straight to the ground. I smirked, saying, I knew about that little trick of yours to change bodies. He got up and said, how? How is that possible? No one should have heard about that. I didn't tell anyone. I laugh and say, oh, Ginyu, honestly, you're a great character, so you can go. Ginyu would get up and say, what? Yeah, just go. Leave the planet right now. Captain Ginyu would be confused. So would everyone else. Nappa and Raditz would be mad, Piccolo would be mad, Goku would be happy and confused since I killed Doria. Why are you letting me go? Because you're cool. And you're the Captain Ginyu. I can't kill Captain Ginyu, the man. Captain Ginyu then was about to leave, but then Nappa and Raditz looked at me mad. I was like, crap, I'm gonna blow my cover. So I turned around and quickly blew him up and laughed and said, just kidding. Nappa and Raditz flew a sigh of relief, as Goku was angry, but he was confused also, because he could tell I didn't want to do it. But as I did it, it felt good too, like my body wanted me to. Which was weird, but it's all I could do. As I looked at the restaurant, I said, are you ready to attack Frieza? He should be at this spaceship. We nodded, and we flew over to Frieza's spaceship.
But before we go, Piccolo, go up there. I pointed back at Grand Guru's place. And Goku said, oh, you're going to have all unlock their potential. That's smart. Nope, I want you to fuse with Nail. Piccolo looked shocked. What? That Namekian swore to protect his planet no matter what. And if you fuse with him, you'll become far more powerful. And it'll give us a greater chance. Piccolo looked shocked. Everyone looked shocked. Nappa was proud. It seemed I was thinking ahead, but at the same time, he was angry that I was making the enemies stronger. Raditz just snarled. Everyone else was confused. Piccolo said, you really think that's a good idea? So he agreed to go back and fuse with Nail. And as he did that, we all charged at Frieza. Frieza was simply sitting down on his throne when suddenly I blew a hole in his spaceship and said, hey, Frieza! Come meet the man who's gonna kill you. And I did the thumb pose. And in my head, I'm like, crap, that pose always ends bad. Why did I do that? Frieza walked out and said, oh, hello, monkey. You're the one who's been messing with everything. You're the one who's prevented me from gaining my immortality. That makes sense. Seems you built quite a rebel army. However, it ends here. Then I flew down and punched Frieza, and I began to beat on him, as the rest of us did the same. However, Frieza got angrier and angrier as he transformed to his second form. We were still able to keep up, though. Then Piccolo showed up, and we pushed Frieza all the way to his final form. He skipped the third and fourth one as he turned straight to his final. We all looked at him as I threw up a power ball and turned into a great ape. All the great ape charged at Frieza, but it was no match. He began to beat us. He cut off our tails one by one and beat us limb from limb, as then he lifted up Krillin and blew him up.
As Goku saw this, he got angrier and angrier, and I smiled.
As I was prepared for Goku to turn Super Saiyan and save us all, but instead he went Kaioken times 20. And Frieza began to beat him up. He didn't turn Super Saiyan. I looked shocked. That's impossible. He had to have. Our whole plan, it bit it off that. Frieza then began to beat the rest of them, as all I could do was stand there in shock. Then Frieza flew to me and blasted one of my arms with a death beam. As it broke, I fell to the floor. All I could feel was pain. He walked up to me and said, "I'm gonna kill every last one of you monkeys and erase the entire species." I felt anger coursing through my body. Frieza ruled over me. My body remembered that. I may not have been a Vegeta, but my body was, and all that anger dwelled up. And I also felt a strong connection. I watched Dragon Ball since I was a kid, and all these characters are alive now. All these characters are real now, and they're gonna die. Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and even Raditz and Nappa. These characters who I built a strong connection with over time. Some right now, some always since I was born. And now they're all gonna die because of me. I couldn't let that happen. Anger filled my body and said, "I'm not gonna let you do that." As I turned Super Saiyan, my hair went yellow, and I charged a one-handed Gallic gun. Frieza looked up and said, "What is that?" Ah! As this Gallic gun hit him straight in the face, it launched about into space, evaporated most of his body. As I began to breathe heavily, falling down in my Super Saiyan form. Then I got back up, one arm broken. I looked at him. Nappa and Raditz said, "That's not possible." Goku said, "What are you?" "I am a Super Saiyan. I am Vegeta, the Super Saiyan of Namek, and the Super Saiyan that this universe needs," I said, smirking. As I turned Super Saiyan, I looked around. I couldn't believe it. I changed history, and I feel good about it. I defeated Frieza. And I have friends now. I always had friends back in my old life, but these friends feel way more close, and I have powers. As I defeated Frieza and I was a Super Saiyan, I smiled, because this was the best day of my life. It's been a few months since I turned Super Saiyan. Everyone is down on Earth. Raditz and Nappa decide to stay because they want to turn Super Saiyan, but as soon as they turn, they're going to leave this pathetic life. At least that's what they're telling themselves. Kakarot is very interested in turning Super Saiyan. Everyone else was off training or doing something. We really didn't have a reason to wait for Kakarot, so I was the only one out there, and I waited. I waited for a future Trunks time machine, thinking he might not even appear. I just waited and waited and waited until his time machine finally got there, and I smirked. I walked up to Trunks. As Trunks got out, he said, Where, how did you know I was gonna be here?" "No, I was off training, boy, and I found this weird thing you came out of. Explain yourself. Are you an alien?" In my head, I'm like, I need to keep my cover. So Trunks looked relieved that I didn't know who he was, because, he wanted to still be born. So he threw me the pills and explained that he was from the future. And since I was the only one there, he had to explain it to me. And I said, "What happened?" "Well, with Goku dying, even with your Super Saiyan, you two weren't able to team up to beat the androids. You rushed in there and died." I looked down sad. "Really?" "Yeah. And Nappa and Raditz? Once you died, they just only got bored and just left the planet. I have no idea where they're at. No one does. Or even if they're still alive. The planet was set in ruin by these androids." Trunks would say. I would say, "Very well." As Trunks got into his time machine, he went back to the future. I was shocked. I even changed the future timeline. Huh. All I could do was look around and think. As long as I give him the medicine, we should be able to defeat the androids, right? But what about Cell? How will Cell be? Is my snowballing effect going to change him too? I really didn't have much time to think about this, so I decided to give Goku the medicine. As Goku was training at his house, I flew down there, and Chi-Chi was there, and she ran and yelled at me. "Last time I saw you grab Gohan and flew away. What was that about?" And she began to yell, and I just looked and said, "Psh," and just walked past her. "Hey!" I threw the medicine at Goku, said, "Here, if your heart starts to hurt, take this, it'll save your life." Goku looked at me and said, "How did you know that?" "Someone special told me about it. You'll see him soon, trust me." Then I flew off.
Goku looked intrigued, but he decided to listen to me. And Chi-Chi said, "Why don't you stick up for me?" And Goku looked scared. As we cut to years ahead, nothing much would change besides Raditz and Nappa, but they were off training hardcore to try to unlock Super Saiyan. Goku was too, but he still hanged around me and the others. So, I went over to the city, as I told them all to meet me there. As Piccolo, Goku showed up, I didn't see Raditz or Nappa. I was annoyed. They should be here by now. Ugh, I said, sighing. Goku said, "What's up? There's gonna be some androids appearing here." "How do you know this?" "Someone told me. You'll see them soon later." Things would continue mostly as in canon, except I was there, until the fight with 19. As 19 got out, finally, Raditz and Nappa showed up. I screamed, "Took you long enough," but then I realized something. This is the point in the show where Vegeta showed up with Super Saiyan and wrecked 19. Maybe they have Super Saiyan. Raditz went down and transformed Super Saiyan as they smirked, and he began to battle 19, but something was off. Raditz wasn't winning. 19 was winning. I was shocked. That can't be possible. But then I realized something. In the original show, Dr. Gero's androids were destroyed with Goku's battle with Vegeta, so he didn't know about Super Saiyan. But I never battled Kakarot. That means they were never destroyed. Dr. Gero began to laugh. "Is that all you got, Super Saiyan? Such a pathetic waste of time." I said, "Why you?" as I transformed and punched Dr. Gero, and then got ready to battle him. Me and him began to battle, as then Nappa showed up and battled 19. Dr. Gero said, "Damn it, even with all these upgrades and preparation, we're still outnumbered. I know how to fix that." 17, 18, they both walked up, as then I walked back. But 17 and 18 weren't supposed to be loyal to Dr. Gero. This can't be. They're completely loyal to him. They were supposed to be rogue. I messed up the timeline. As I looked down, I realized something. We're doomed, and it's all my fault. But then I said no. I screamed, "This is not gonna happen!" as I punched Dr. Gero, sending him flying. He got back up, and I began to push into my Saiyan rage that pushed me forwards. But 17 and 18 were too much. As they surrounded me, Goku ran in to help me as he transformed to a Super Saiyan. At least in this timeline, he didn't fall down from the heart virus. It seemed impossible, but just then, Future Trunks showed up. He turned Super Saiyan and yelled, "Masenko!" As he shot into the ground, dust came up everywhere, and Future Trunks grabbed us, and we managed to fly off, barely escaping with our lives. As I was panting, we all landed back, hiding our power levels. Trunks says, "Why were there 4 of them?" I said, "The timeline's messed up." Piccolo said, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" And Trunks elaborated that he was from the future and explained it. Goku said, "Oh, so that's how you knew. Why didn't you tell us about it?" I said, "I didn't want you to panic. Besides, I wanted us all to fight them. Fair and square. Look where that got us." In my head, I was like, why are things playing out so differently? All because of me. Trunks nodded, thinking it was his fault. However, we did have an idea. Goku said, "What about the time chamber?" I then smirked and said, "Yes." "What is that?" Trying to pretend not to know what it is. And Goku explained, "One day out here is a year in there." And we all agreed. However, Piccolo had an idea how to get stronger himself. He would have to fuse with Kami so he could fight them. So Piccolo flew up there. As we all flew up, I remembered Cell. Should I warn them? I mean, how can I warn them? It's not like I would know. I've barely gotten away with knowing the things I know now. If I tell them there's this being known as Cell, they're gonna get suspicious, right? I mean, Nappa and Raditz only still think I'm Vegeta because of how strong I am and how strong they've gotten. They've really not been focusing on that much. Even then, they're on my tail. I guess it's best not to tell them about Cell and just hope for the best, I decide. As me and Trunks go into the time chamber, Piccolo fuses with Kami to get stronger so he can fight them. After that, he flies down to go fight them. But as he's flying down, eventually he would encounter Cell. But he wouldn't find a destroyed city, or a city full of clothes, abandoned clothes.
when he found Cell. Cell would find him. As he was flying to try to find the androids, and Perfect Cell would walk to him and say, "Hey, Piccolo, I have a plan." He would look and say, "Who are you?" "I am Cell, made up of the DNA of all the warriors in the universe, and I have one goal, to become perfect. I need to absorb 17 and 18. And you are enemies with them, correct?" Piccolo would nod. "Well, I have a plan. I see you fused with Kami to get stronger. If you can battle 17 or 18 and distract them, I can hide in my power level, then come up and absorb them." Piccolo didn't really trust him, but Cell could have just tried to absorb him off the bat. And he didn't really hurt anyone, and he was desperate in the first place, so Piccolo agreed. So they began to search for the androids. Eventually, they found them. Piccolo would see a city in ruin, destroyed, dead people everywhere. These androids, they didn't care about life. All they did was destroy. All they did was what Jiro told them. Jiro would be destroying cities to try to draw them out. However, only Piccolo would land. Jiro would say, "That's it. I wanted Goku. I wanted all of them. I wanted Vegeta. I wanted to kill the first Super Saiyan." He came, whatever Namek was, he became a lot stronger once he came back. "Well, where are they?" Piccolo says, "I'm all you'll need." Jiro just snarls and says, 17, take care of him." 17 and Piccolo begin to battle as Cell is hiding his power level, watching from the shadows, waiting to get his opportunity to strike. They both push each other further and further, as Piccolo uses the Hell Zone grenade and uses technique after technique, but eventually, Piccolo grabs 17 with all of his might. Piccolo screams, "Now!" as Cell runs up and absorbs 17. Suddenly, Cell turns into his semi-perfect form. As he looks at Dr. Gero, Dr. Gero goes, "No, I canceled the Project Cell. How could you be here?" Cell laughs and says, "A little thing called time travel. This is impossible. 18, we need to run. 19, hold him off." 19 charged to hold off Cell, but then Piccolo charged in and punched 19, launched him to the floor. Then Cell holded up his hand and blasted a Ki Blast, destroying him. As Dr. Gero and 18 flew away, suddenly Semi-Perfect Cell flew up and grabbed 18, as then he flew down and absorbed her and became perfect. As he became perfect, Dr. Gero was flying away with every inch of power he had, trying to get away. But then Perfect Cell appeared in front of him and said, "Where are you going, father?" Dr. Gero said, How? This is not fair. I was going to win. I was going to get my revenge. It took me so long to make 17 and 18 loyal, just for you to come up and absorb them, you stupid brat. Ugh! Dr. Gero then punched Perfect Cell, but it did nothing, as Cell simply said, "Goodbye, father. You served your purpose to create this perfect being, but now, since you're no longer useful, it's time for you to go away. Kamehameha." As he was charging, Dr. Gero tried to fly away, but then he said, "Ha!" as it hit Dr. Gero, wiping him out. Perfect Cell then landed next to Piccolo and said, "Thank you, Piccolo. Now I need to go off and get even stronger. I'll probably host a tournament, just for fun, though. Don't worry, I won't hurt any of you guys too bad," he says, smirking. Piccolo said, "You're welcome, I guess." Piccolo was just happy it was all over. I walked out of the time chamber and I could sense Cell's ki. As I came out of the time chamber, I could sense Cell's energy. It was intense. I've never sensed anything like it. However, Cell should be, I sensed it, perfect Cell, but he should be semi-perfect. Maybe I'm just getting a reading wrong, or maybe semi-perfect Cell is stronger. I couldn't really tell. I asked Kakarot what was going on, and Piccolo said he met a new friend, but we don't really know if he could trust him or not. And they helped us. This shocked me. Cell helped them? I decided to fly down to see what was going on, as Trunks wanted to come with me, so he did, but I didn't really want him to. We both went down to Cell, as Cell looked at us, and he smirked. "Oh, Vegeta, hello. What can I do for the Prince of all Saiyans? Can we talk?" Cell goes, "Yeah, of course we can." Cell then looked at Trunks and pointed for him to go away. He was confused, but we were left alone. Cell said, "I know your secret. You're reincarnated. You know how I know? Because I'm reincarnated too. Isn't it great being able to fly and blast Ki Blast?" he says. "I know. It's awesome. I love this show. Me too. But here's what I'm thinking.
I don't really want to be a bad guy, but I have to do the Cell game so Mr. Satan can get famous, so he can make his friendship with Majin Buu. I mean, that's just adorable. Yeah, Majin Buu and Mr. Satan are great friends, and we need that to happen. So me and Cell talked for hours, and we were nerding out about Dragon Ball and how much we love the show, and even talk about our previous lives. The rest of the Z Fighters didn't know what we were talking about, and assumed we were having some deep conversation. So we agreed that Cell would have a friendly game, but he needed to broadcast it publicly so Mr. Satan could be famous. You think I can do it, Cell said? Not be evil and still get him famous? I hope so. But if you do have to be evil, I guess it'll be worth it. So Mr. Satan can become friends with Majin Buu and save us. But, well, try not to come back after Gohan blows you up. I laughed. Gohan didn't blow me up. I blew myself up, remember? Are you even a true fan? You know what I meant, I said, as we teased each other. And Cell just flew off. I flew back to the lookout. As everyone said, what was that about? He's going to announce to the world the Cell games, where everyone is going to show up to fight. Because he wants a good fight. Goku said, so, is he going to blow up the planet or something if we don't do it? Nope, he just wants to fight. Just like you, Kakarot. Alright then. Well, Goku and Gohan both decided to train. Even though it wasn't like super serious, Goku still wanted to spend time with his son and, make him get stronger. So he took him into the time chamber. And then we all began to wait for the Cell games to begin. 7 days. Things would play out mostly like normal as this was going on. However, there was something that was going to interrupt the Cell games that we didn't know about. It was King Cold. As we cut to King Cold didn't really know what to do. He couldn't find any pieces of his son since he was completely destroyed. He found Namek, but there was nothing but dead bodies there. And the Namekians later moved, so it was just a wasted planet with nothing but death. No matter how hard he searched, he couldn't find anything. His people looked through Frieza's ship and the files, and they found that Frieza was trying to get immortality with the Dragon Balls, but that's all he knew. He couldn't find any evidence. He searched and searched and searched for months, until he gave up hope. King Cold then lived out his life, but he did do one thing. He began to train. If there's someone strong enough to beat Frieza, they'll be strong enough to defeat him. He doesn't have Frieza's potential, but his potential is still strong. So he began to train and push himself further and further. And he began to search. He built a machine that could search for power levels, and him and his people searched for a high enough power level to defeat Frieza, and eventually they found it on Earth. After months and years of searching, King Cold was ready to get his revenge. As he was about to land on the planet, we cut to the Cell games. Mr. Satan is walking up to fight Cell, but then, just then, a spaceship lands. Mr. Satan would look and get angry. Is someone here to steal my spotlight? Suddenly, King Cold walked down. We were shocked. King Cold's power, it was amazing. He began to walk towards us all as he looked at Cell and everyone else. Who did it? Who killed my boy? I looked at him and said, I did, as I smirked and turned Super Saiyan. King Cold said, oh yeah? King Cold began to tap into a power greater than anything before. He didn't transform, but I could tell his months of training truly made him more powerful. I began to fight him with Super Saiyan Grade 2, and as we battled, Cell would watch. He wanted to fight him. Something about his DNA. Cell may have been a reincarnation just like me, but deep down his body learned for battle. His body pushed him to battle. But he had to fight Mr. Satan. So, he blasted a key blast and destroyed the camera. Then he walked up to Mr. Satan. Listen, buddy. I like you, so punch me and I will jump off the edge. Mr. Satan would say, how dare you do that? You trying to trick me? I'm not trying to trick you, just punch me. No, you make the first move. Mr. Satan didn't trust Cell. Cell needed to jump in to fight King Cold, but he had to make sure Mr. Satan won. He was so irritated, he didn't know what to do. But then he had an idea. As then he yelled, he shot out some Cell Juniors. Mr. Satan walked back in disgust. What the hell did you just do? I made some children. Now go help Vegeta. They charged up with me and began to help me fight King Cold. But I said, I don't need your help. And that shocked me. That doesn't sound like me. I never denied help before. This body, is it affecting my personality? I couldn't think about it much. As I was battling King Cold, King Cold began to push me more and more. As the rest of the Z-Fighters were about to jump in, Goku said, "No, let's see how things play out." Gohan said, "What? Cell can handle him if we all team up with Cell. But let's see how strong Vegeta's gotten. If things get too bad, we'll jump in and go on. Don't worry about it." The Cell Juniors charged at King Cold as they all grabbed him for me to blast him. But then, I knocked him out of the way and said, "No, I'm fighting him fair and square." All the Cell Juniors left, and King Cold said, "Why are you doing this, Vegeta? It's certain death. You may be stronger than me, but you're not that stronger than me. And I can feel that I can get stronger. I feel that I could test my Saiyan pride." Then I heard someone yell, "Attaboy, Vegeta!" Nappa yelled, and Raditz, and even Goku, they all began to cheer me on. Nappa said, "I know you since you were a kid, and you've been acting differently these years, but this is the real you. Let loose, Vegeta. Let him have it." Raditz said, "Yeah! Show him what the Prince of All Saiyans has to offer. Get him!" And their cheering made me feel stronger as I began to battle King Cold. King Cold was winning, but as we battled, I felt myself getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then I punched him, sending him back down. As I got up, I began to look at him and march towards him. King Cold shook. "How is this possible? You've gotten stronger mid-battle." Simple. It's easy for a Saiyan. I am a Saiyan elite. I am Prince Vegeta. You are nothing but a frost demon. You're nothing but a lazy piece of garbage. It's a shame. If your son would have trained, he easily would have beat me. King Cold says, "How do you know about that?" I then looked at him. But then I sighed. Since he's a villain and everyone's focused on the fight, no one's gonna care about that comment, hopefully. Don't worry about it. But your days are over. As then I started to charge a big bang attack. But as I was charging it, King Cold would charge his own attack. As we both blasted, it was an epic beam struggle. But I managed to push the big bang with everything I got as it pushed through his attack and hit him straight in the face, killing King Cold. As then I collapsed on the floor using all my energy. Cell said, "Well, that was an entertaining sideshow." But in his mind, he was like, "Good for you. Pushing your limits just like the real Vegeta." As then he looked down at Mr. Satan. "Are you ready to continue our fight?" Mr. Satan got up and said, "Yeah, you know it." Suddenly, Mr. Satan punched Cell, and Cell then looked at him and said, "You owe me." As suddenly, Mr. Satan felt a dark presence. As he picked up Mr. Satan by his neck, and he looked like he was gonna snap, and all the Z-Fighters were shocked. But then Cell said, then Mr. Satan kicked him, and then he pretended to fall off the edge. As Mr. Satan won, everyone was shocked. Well, not the people of Earth who heard about it from Mr. Satan himself after the camera was destroyed, but all the Z-Fighters were shocked that Cell let him win. Cell got up and said, "Well, that was fun. Time to go home with my new kids, I guess." But in Cell's mind, he's like, "Damn it, I just gave birth. Am I gonna have to raise all these guys? What do they even eat? Do they need to eat?" Goku walked up and said, "Why'd you do that? We could have all fought and had fun." That was fun. Besides, we can fight anytime we want from now on. Goku would nod and say, "Yeah." They would pick me up, and eventually I would wake up later. Goku would say, "I'm proud of you for taking on King Cold. That was cool." It was nothing. I killed his son, now I killed his father. We all laughed. Then Cell and all of his kids flew out into space. But before he did, Cell looked at me and he whispered, "I'll be back during the Buu saga. Have fun." And he flew away, and I smiled. As I was overjoyed that I met someone that was reincarnated just like me, and I got to kill King Cold. That's a win. Seems like everything is going fine. And to be honest, these people I'm with are closer than anyone I've... Alright guys, welcome to the next episode of What If I Was Reincarnated as Vegeta. I'm enjoying making this series, hope you're enjoying it. With all that being said, let's get down to the Buu saga. It's been years since the Cell game. Cell would visit every once in a while, and everyone thought Mr. Satan was a world champion, like in the main story, and I had Trunks, so not really much would be changed. However, I would be waiting for Majin Buu excitedly as I trained, and when I was getting ready for the tournament. As things went on normally, the tournament eventually began. As it began, Cell came down, but he was disguised
as a human. Since he announced the world tournament and implied he might blow up the planet, but never really did, Cell was kind of iffy. But, he thought it would be fun if he just disguised himself so he didn't have to deal with that. Then he would reveal himself to Mr. Satan for their fight, just to mess with him and just to pretend to lose again. It's all part of Cell's plan, to have a good time. If he got that far until Buu showed up, most likely he wouldn't, but the timeline changed already, so he might, you never know. However, his plan didn't really work out that well, as Shin showed up, Gohan got his energy stolen, and we all began to fly out. And they explained to us everything. Nappa and Raditz were mad that some Saiyan got their energy stolen by aliens. They still love their Saiyan pride. Even though they've been dulled a bit, they're still ruthless warriors when you get down to it. But they care about us in their own way. We hit our power levels and wants as Deborah was talking to Bobbity, but Cell knew that Deborah knew where we were, so he looked at me, and I knew too, so he smirked. And I said, let's change things up a bit. We both charged in, and Grand Supreme Kai said, what are you doing? Cell punched Deborah, sending him flying. He spit at him, but then he dodged it. And Cell and Deborah began to fight, and I charged a big bang attack, wiping out 2 of Bobbity's minions. Bobbity then grabs his little thing and begins to run inside, as Cell and Deborah continue to battle each other with everything they got. However, Cell's at a massive advantage since he's trained quite a bit, and he begins to beat him up and laugh at him. Is this all you got, Deborah? You're supposed to be the mighty Demon King, and yet you're a puppet to Bobbity. That's pathetic. Deborah says, shut up, I am no puppet. He's just using you. Deborah would spit, but he would dodge it and kick him to the ground. He would begin to humiliate him and beat him limb from limb, but then he threw him up against a mountain and said, I like you, Deborah, so I'm gonna let you go. But from now on, don't be a puppet, alright? Try to be a cool character. Cell said, as he jumped in. I was like, he's not really keeping it down low. I sighed and said, come on. Everyone else jumped down below us. They were confused why Cell spared Deborah, but we didn't really have time for it. So we all jumped down to the spaceship as it locked. Bobbity watched this, and he was horrified. Deborah was defeated. How? That Cell must be very powerful. Maybe he can get into his mind. He tried to enter Cell's mind, tried to exploit the evil inside him, as Cell began to yell as he grabbed his head. Spring Kai said, oh no, his mind's being taken over. I feel it. I feel the power. I feel. But then he just laughed. I'm just kidding. I got kids up in space. You really think I'll fall for this? Go find someone else, you little bald bastard. Bobbity just looked at him and said, ah! Then he tried to enter my mind, and well, it didn't really work out that well. I could have accepted it. Honestly, I thought about doing it to keep the timeline the same, but the timeline's already so messed up, it really doesn't matter, so I denied it. He got angrier and angrier as Bobbity failed after failure, but eventually he found someone who could connect. Raditz. As Raditz grabbed his head, he began to scream out in anger, scream out in pain. Raditz has always been the weakest one among the Saiyans. No matter what form he unlocked, he was always behind us. It wasn't fair. Suddenly he began to scream as an M appeared on his forehead. As Raditz looked around angrily, Nappa says, of course it was you who became mind-controlled. You were always the weak link. It makes sense that, but suddenly Raditz punched Nappa, knocking him out. Shut up! Vegeta, you always look down upon me. You abuse me, and suddenly you meet this Kakarot guy, and you're all buddies with him. He's like your best friend, and he was my brother. No matter how hard I trained, I was always below all of you, and even Kakarot was above me. Kakarot, my little brother that was supposed to be below me. I lost everything just for you to play hero. I looked at him, and deep down, I was kind of happy because Majin Raditz is cool, but I was like, look, Raditz, it's not like that. It's just suddenly he punched me as I got up and turned Super Saiyan. I'll deal with him. Supreme Kai said, we can help you. No, this is our fight. I blew a hole in the spaceship as we both flew out and began to battle each other. As that was going on, the rest of the Z-Fighters quickly pushed down the floors. Bobbity was scared. He needed Raditz and Vegeta to gather enough energy so he can summon Majin Buu. As that was going on, we cut to me and Raditz. As Raditz looked me right in the eyes. Are you ready to die? Are you ready for the great prince of all Saiyans to be destroyed by a low-class warrior? Like I'll ever be destroyed by someone like you, Raditz.
But listen, this isn't you. Raditz says, shut up, this is me. I've always been like this. I didn't act out. Ever since you went on that crazy, stupid plan to team with Kakarot and have a little family of your own, because I was weaker and I wanted to get stronger, and I did get stronger, but it was never enough. No matter how strong I got, I was never a match for you. It's not fair. But now, with this power, I'll kill you. Then I'll kill Bobbity from turning me into a puppet. Then I shall rule the universe as the perfect Saiyan warrior. Raditz charges at me and punches me straight in the face. As I turn Super Saiyan 2, so does he. We both charge, electricity sparking through the air, ki and energy blasting apart with each other. Raditz, you're what? Vegeta, you've only ever looked down upon me. Save it. You don't feel sorry for me. My entire life, I was nothing but a tool to you. I looked down and said, I'm sorry. Raditz said, yeah, what? Raditz was confused. He never heard me say sorry before. You're sorry? Yeah, it wasn't right how things were going. I should have paid more attention to you, and I should have trained you personally, and I should have made sure you were able to keep up with us, but I didn't. Even though you're a low class, you're still a Saiyan, and Saiyans are the best race, I said as I smirked. Now come on, let's go back and show some Saiyan pride. I smiled at Raditz as Raditz smiled at me, but right as we de-transformed, he transformed again and tried to karate chop my neck to knock me out, but I dodged it. In my mind, I was like, he did pull a Vegeta. Nice. Raditz said, what? I figured you would try something like that. Raditz just smirks and says, well, it was worth a try. Does that mean you want to go again? Or are we actually going to stop Majin Buu? Raditz sighs and says, let's go stop Majin Buu. As we both flew over to where Bobbity was at. Bobbity collected just enough energy as he stabbed it into the egg. Just as Goku and everyone else showed up, suddenly Majin Buu was awoken. Bobbity began to laugh as Cell sensed out his energy. He says, oh, I got this. Cell walked out in front of Majin Buu as Majin Buu got ready to fight him. Everyone was ready to fight, but Cell said, step back, I'll take care of this. Are you sure? Yeah, I got this, he said, smirking. As Cell got ready to fight Majin Buu, he said, why do you let that little guy boss you around? Majin Buu said, because he awakened me. Well, you can have way more fun without him. Bobbity says, shut up, he's just trying to manipulate you, Boo. Now kill him now. Majin Buu fought Cell, but Cell was training for quite a while, so he was able to easily keep up with him. In fact, Cell was holding back because he didn't want to destroy Majin Buu. Because he wanted Mr. Satan to become friends with him. Because, well, he's a fan of the show. And that's one of the best friendships in the entire show. And that's a fact. So Cell continued to battle Fat Buu further and further. And eventually Fat Buu got angrier and angrier. But not at Cell. Cell was actually nice. He was encouraging Majin Buu. He was being nice to him. And as they fought, he was actually enjoying himself. But Bobbity was the one making him mad. So eventually he picked up Bobbity and punched off his head. Cell would laugh and say, that's the spirit. However, Bobbity survived that. He looked down as Bobbity looked up at him and goes, how could you know that? And just blasted him to death. Piccolo said, wow, good job, Cell. Thanks. Then Cell got an idea. He looked at Piccolo and said, you know what, Piccolo? I have an idea for you later. But for now, let's focus on Buu. Majin Buu said, are we going to have more fun? Yes, we are. But I got a friend for you, a very special friend. Suddenly, Cell would teleport in the middle of the tournament. As Mr. Satan won the tournament since he bribed 18 and all of that, Cell would appear behind him. As everyone looked, it's Cell, it's Cell! Mr. Satan looked up, are you back for more? Cell would look down and say, kind of. He grabbed him and teleported away. Then he teleported right in front of Fat Buu. Mr. Satan said, what the hell is going on here? Then he said, meet your new friend, Buu, Mr. Satan. Mr. Satan looked up and said, who are you? Mr. Satan got hugged by Fat Buu. Yay, new friend! As he picked him up, Mr. Satan said, hey, put me down. But eventually he started to like Fat Buu. And Cell began to laugh. See, all he needed was a friend. You want to play some games? Fat Buu said, yeah, let's fight and eat. Cell nodded as they began to battle and eat. Meanwhile, me and Raditz both showed up and said, what's going on? Goku said,
Majin Buu was awoken, but don't worry, he has some friends now.
Let's get to them. We cut to Beerus, who would be having dreams. It's been years since the Buu saga. Cell and everyone else, even Majin Buu, have all lived a peaceful life. As things kept going on, Beerus was having these dreams about a Super Saiyan God and about a bug man, a man named Cell, who can challenge him. He eventually woke up in a cold sweat. Beerus was really interested in this dream, this premonition, but he couldn't really remember what it was. As he was in the bath talking to Whis, though, he remembered a Super Saiyan God. Whis said, "What's that?" "That's who I was fighting in my dream, and that's who I need to find. How many Saiyans are left?" Whis would show Beerus and say, Vegeta, Goku, Nappa, and Raditz, and one other far off are left. And they could be useful, but I doubt they're a Super Saiyan God. Beerus said, I guess Frieza didn't wipe them all out when he blew up that planet. Maybe I have to wipe him out when I see him. Whis says, "You can't do that, sir. Vegeta defeated him." "Vegeta, really? That little runs I met became that strong? Interesting." Beerus said, smirking. "Well, I think it's time we pay them a visit." Beerus would go to visit Goku on King Kai's planet, like in canon. As Beerus goes to King Kai's world, we cut to Bulma's birthday party. Me, Nappa, and Raditz are all there, including Cell and the Cell Juniors, who have all grown up. And then we're all talking and having a good time, just enjoying ourselves. But suddenly, King Kai would decide to talk to Nappa. Not really me, because, well, ever since I got reincarnated, I haven't really been that bad. And even though I may have an attitude, it's not like I'm going to screw it up. But the people who could screw up the most in King Kai's mind is Goku, Nappa, and Raditz. As he talked to Nappa, King Kai began to describe everything. As Nappa looked around, Nappa was like, "Lord Beerus, But then suddenly he remembered. Back when he was looking after me, he remembered Beerus. Beerus made the king of all Saiyans bow to him. And even Frieza himself, the man above King Vegeta, bowed to him. This sent shivers down his spine. He remembered Beerus, and he remembered how strong he was. "Do you understand why you can't make anyone mad?" Nappa would nod yes. "I understand why. I need to keep everyone calm." King Kai would then sign off. As Nappa would walk up to me and explain the situation, me and Nappa agreed to try to keep things calm. As we waited, eventually Beerus would arrive. Beerus would look at us and ask, "Do any of you know anything about a Super Saiyan God?" I would smirk and say, "I've heard some legends here and there, but I think you should fight someone else first. Someone who's made of the DNA of the perfect warriors. Someone who's a bio-android." Beerus looked and said, "Bio-androids? Interesting. They were banned through most planets for being too dangerous to create, so this world doesn't have that law, or someone broke it. Either way, I'm down to fight them." Beerus smirked, as suddenly Cell walked up. Cell would whisper to me, "What the hell are you doing?" I would whisper, "You got this. Besides, just give him a good fight. You know he'll enjoy it." Cell looked up at him and said, "So you're Lord Beerus." "I think it's time you and I fight each other. Perfect being to perfect being." Beerus says, "I don't know if I consider myself perfect, but I'm up there," Beerus would say, laughing, as they both flew out into the sky and began to battle each other. Cell punched Beerus as Beerus punched him, and he could feel the power coming off of him. Beerus said, "Not bad, but you're no rival of mine." Cell said, "Oh yeah? How about now?" as he smirked and turned gold. The entire sky was shining with his golden form. As we all looked in amazement, Cell laughed and said, "Am I a rival now?" Beerus said, "Maybe, but don't get too cocky." As he kicked him down the ocean, Cell flew up and kicked him back as they both began to battle each other with everything they got. At least everything for Cell. Beerus was definitely holding back. Beerus began to laugh. "So you're the golden warrior I had a dream about. A warrior that could challenge even me. Interesting. But let's see about that Super Saiyan God." Cell says, "Our battle's not over yet." "It already is. I've already won. I'm more powerful than you, but I can easily." Cell then punched him and said, "I don't care how strong you are. I don't care if this fight's already determined. It's not over until I say it's over. I fight at my best. I fight with everything I have, and I'll fight you right here, right now." But Cell was shocked. That just came out of nowhere. His body's controlling him. Beerus smirked and began to laugh. "That's a side effect, huh?" Cell would say, "Side effect? You think I don't know about Vegeta and you? Us gods have a sense about this. I couldn't tell if you could remember your old life or not. It's different for everyone. But you can. Tell me, can Vegeta?" Old life, Cell said nervously. Beerus said, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. You're reincarnated, aren't you? Cell would then say, yeah, I am. Oh, well that's cool. Now, tell me about Vegeta. Does he know? He would go, yes. That's interesting. Usually a reincarnation happens right when they're born. But Vegeta, I've met them before and I didn't sense that. Maybe I lost my touch, or maybe he was reincarnated recently. That's very rare, but not impossible for a body to be taken over by reincarnation. So would say, yeah, hey, can we go back to fighting and stop talking about this? I mean, it's cool you're keeping my secret and all, but Beerus just begins to laugh. You want to fight, that's all you care about. You're similar to me. Sorry, I like to ramble. After this fight, how about you and I get a sundae? Cell says, I'd like that. I hear they're delicious. Beerus says, as then they got back to fighting.
Suddenly, as they were fighting, a giant orange arm appeared and grabbed Beerus, throwing him back onto the ship. As it was Piccolo and he turned orange. As he flew up, he said, mind if I join? Beerus was shocked. I have never heard of an orange Namekian. I guess that's some sort of potential unlock for him. I could tell because it doesn't look natural. He flew up as Piccolo flew up with him. As they began to battle, they began to form the Super Saiyan ritual on me after I wished to know what it was, even though I already knew because, well, I didn't want to blow my cover. And eventually, I flew up there. It was Super Saiyan God Vegeta, Orange Piccolo, and Golden Cell versus Beerus. As we all looked at him, we were ready to fight. Beerus looked at us and said, you know, I think I have an idea. Since you're all so eager to fight, you'll all be so eager to die together. As he charged a massive ki blast and threw it at all of us. As Piccolo charged up a special beam cannon, I charged up a Gallic gun. And Cell charged up a perfect Kamehameha. We all hit the ki blast with everything we got, pushing it with all of our might. As Beerus pushed it back, Beerus said, you're full of strong fighters. I will commend you. However, if I kept you alive, you'd be a threat to my title. I can't let that stand. Beerus pushed the ki blast further and further down. I yelled in my head, this wasn't supposed to happen. He was supposed to spare us. I won't let you destroy my world! As I pushed it with everything I got, we all did. We pushed the ki blast straight into space. Beerus barely dodged it, as then he laughed. Good. You know what? I like this planet, and I like its people. Piccolo said, you were just gonna destroy us. I was joking. Now, let's finish this off. It took a lot of energy for you guys to deflect that. But I'm glad you did. This world would be so boring if it was just a smoldering rock in space, he said as he chuckled, and we all began to battle. But as we battled, our stamina began to run out. Cell was the first one out since he fought Beerus in the beginning. As it was just down to me and Piccolo, Beerus said, well, I commend you guys, but without him, there's no way you can win. Maybe so, but it's not over till it's over. Isn't that right, Piccolo? Piccolo nods, so that's right. Let's hit him with everything we got, Vegeta. Piccolo began to shoot ki blast after ki blast after ki blast at Beerus, but he dodged all of them, and he said, are you trying to hit me? Piccolo said no. What do you mean no? As he looked around, he saw the ki blasts that were just sitting there around him. As Piccolo said, Hell Zone Grenade, and they all hit him. As they all hit him, I charged in and punched Beerus in the back with everything I got, and charged a Big Bang Attack! As it hit Beerus right into the face. But it did nothing. Beerus simply smirked with glee. Oh, is that all you got? You're like babies throwing a tantrum. Ants against a monster. No matter what you do, you can't win. Then he punched Piccolo, sending him down to earth. As it was just me, Beerus said, you weren't the strongest of the two. I'm surprised you lasted the longest. Maybe you have a lot of knowledge about me. How much did you know about me in my old life? Old life? Yes, spit it out. Well, you were a TV show in my old life. Beerus looked at me shocked, but then he smirked. I see. Well, there are infinite other realities. Sure, this reality has a certain number of universes, but there are other realities. It would make sense that one reality would be a TV show. But I guarantee you this is no show, and you have no plot armor.
and I could easily erase you. As he held up his hand in my face and charged up an Hakai, he said, "Do you know what this is? It's an Hakai. So be good, and don't destroy my precious universe." Then he stopped charging it, because otherwise I'll have no yummy food to eat, as he laughed. "Now come on, eat with me, Vegeta." I turned back to base and nodded, as we flew down, and I began to eat with Beerus.
Let's get to it. We cut to Frieza, who's been awakened, just like in the normal timeline. However, they start to tell him about Cell, a bio-android. Frieza's intrigued. Bio-androids are banned for being created in most of the universe, so that wouldn't be very interesting. They tell him about me and all that stuff, and how they befriended Majin Buu. Frieza goes, "Befriended Majin Buu?" Frieza was told to never fight Majin Buu or Lord Beerus. These were the two people Frieza was told to never fight by King Cold. This shocked him, and he knew what he had to do. He hated to train. He hated to work. Frieza loved to have everything handed to him. But the first time in his life, he couldn't live like that anymore. Frieza decided to train, as he was going to train like he never had before. He's going to train like he never did before, and he's going to push himself further and further like no one ever could. And as Frieza was training, one day someone would want to join his army. His name would be Dabura, the Demon King. He wanted revenge on those Z fighters too, and Frieza was happy to oblige. Dabura and Frieza teamed up to get their sweet, sweet revenge. Dabura heard about Frieza's resurrection, and he wanted to see his power. As Dabura would say, "My new lord, show me your power." As Frieza turned gold, this shocked Dabura. Dabura was excited, and he was tired of being under people. He figured if he worked for Frieza, he can be a partner with him. Dabura smirked and said, "That's very impressive." Frieza said, "You don't even know the half of it." Suddenly, Frieza would turn gold. Dabura would smirk, but then he would look at him and say, "You should train longer in that form to maintain it." Frieza said, "Are you questioning me?" Dabura simply snarled and went, "Look, you're gonna run out of stamina in that form." Frieza wanted to kill him for questioning him, but Dabura was very useful. He was the king of all demons, and he had a lot of magic abilities. Also, he might have been right, so Frieza decided to perfect his golden form this time. And Dabura trained as well. Dabura was much more powerful than what he was before. He was barely below Frieza. With all of his magic abilities, all of his intense training and time chambers he found throughout the universe. They were both ready to get their revenge. As this was going on, we cut to Beerus' planet.
Me, Raditz, Nappa, and Goku were all there, and we were all preparing to fight. We were training each other further and further, and pushing each other further, as we achieved a blue formed. Everything seemed peaceful, too peaceful. However, for all these years of fighting and things like that, we knew it wouldn't stay peaceful forever. As Nappa looked at us and said, "I wonder what the next big threat will be." I said, "I don't know, but whatever it is, we'll take care of it, just like we took care of all of them, yeah." Raditz smiled. As Nappa and Raditz were no longer these bastards, they were no longer these people that just went along with me because I was stronger than them. They actually cared about me, and they weren't scared to show it. They still hid their emotions a little bit here and there, but they weren't no longer bad guys. They were now fully heroes, just like me, just like Goku. Just like all of us. Goku would look at Beerus and say, "Why isn't Cell here?" Beerus would look annoyed. "Do you even have to ask that? Why isn't Cell here? He has that golden form. He doesn't need to get God Key. Besides, he has Buu to train with, and all of his children too, who might also be able to unlock the golden form. I'm sure that we'll be fine without him learning God Key." Goku smiles and says, "You're scared if he learns God Key, he'll be able to surpass you." Beerus gets up and says, "Say it again," in a serious voice, as we all try to calm Beerus down. But suddenly, Whis would look around and said, "Oh no, I feel a disturbance. I think he's back." "Who's back?" "Frieza, my lord. And I think he's going to Earth." Whis would then look at his wand, as it showed Frieza's forces landed on Earth, with Dabura. Not too worried though, the Resurrection F saga may be starting, but we should be able to handle Golden Frieza, since in the original timeline, all it took was me and Goku. Now we got Nappa and Raditz. This will be super easy, even with Dabura. I mean, how powerful could Frieza have actually gotten? In fact, Golden Cell might be able to take care of him. I watch and say, let's see how this show goes. As we cut to Frieza and Nabor walking down on Earth, as Cell with all the Cell Juniors walk up with the rest of the Z Fighters. Frieza looks at him and says, "So you're the bio-android made from my DNA. How does it feel to know you got all the best parts from me? How does it feel to know that all those monkey parts hold you back?" Cell says, "I don't know. How does it feel to come back from hell, just to go back to it right now?" As Cell turned gold and charged at Frieza, Frieza turned gold too, but suddenly, Frieza would appear right in front of him, and then disappear. Every time Cell tried to hit him, it would go right through his body. Then Frieza knocked down to the ground. "How is that possible?" Frieza laughed and said, "Deborah taught me magic." "You see, I've learned new techniques. I've gone beyond just training. I pushed my body beyond its limit to become stronger than ever. I went through 3 months of hell." Cell was like, "This is bad." In our timeline,
Frieza just trained a bit and he was able to reach gold, but in this timeline he actually pushed himself further. Sure, it was still 3 months and there's no way he had his black form, but still, this golden form is far more powerful than the golden form in the original show. In Deborah, he could sense his energy. He's more powerful than ever too. And now Frieza knows magic. How could he compete? But then Cell just smirked. "You have some magic abilities, I have some abilities too. Let's see who's really the strongest, Frieza. And I'm gonna tell you this, it's not gonna be you." Frieza says, "Aww, what makes you say that?" "Because I got something more powerful than you. More powerful than any weapon in the universe. More powerful than any fighter in the universe. More powerful than any technique." Frieza was intrigued and said, "What's that?" "Friendship!" Cell then powered up to his full power for Goku to teleport to him. He was easily powerful enough, he thought, but something was wrong. Goku didn't teleport there. As Frieza looked at him, he says, "What are you doing?" But then he remembered. Goku didn't learn instant transmission in this timeline because he never went to Yard Rat. Cell was shocked. His plan. But then he had to get out of it. As me, Goku, Nappa, and Raditz all traveled on Whis, Cell would have to hold him off. As Cell battled Frieza, the Cell Juniors would surround Deborah and begin to battle him. They would all power up. They didn't unlock the golden form, but they were extremely powerful. However, they were no match, and Deborah easily decided to beat them up. He looked at them, and they were about to kill them. It would be a shame if suddenly Krillin flew in the way, but then Deborah simply slapped him out. As Deborah was about to kill Cell's kids, he said, "Don't hurt my children!" and flew in front of the way, punching Deborah out of the way. Then he would grab them all and begin to throw them back one by one to try to keep them safe. But this is what he wanted, as suddenly Frieza hit him with death beam after death beam, and Deborah used a magic spell to appear in front of Cell and chop him in half with a sword. Cell got back up and regenerated, but he was extremely winded, and he fell down, unable to move. Deborah walked up to him and said, "I knew if I hurt your kids, you would get worried. Kind of a bad parent to leave them on the battlefield." "I guess I'll just kill you right now, Cell. Your life was worthless." Cell looked up, said, "I guess this is how I go." But suddenly, I would fly in front of the way and punch Deborah, then turn blue, as Nappa and Raditz would also turn blue. As Goku threw Cell a senzu bean, he ate it and got up. Thank you." Cell then smirked and said, "Wow, for once Goku giving Cell a senzu bean was a good thing." As we all got ready to fight, suddenly a special beam cannon would travel right through Bedora's chest, as Piccolo in his orange form was secretly charging up as Cell was distracting him. However, Piccolo didn't know that demons had hearts on the other side of their body, so as Deborah fell down, everyone thought he was dead. He was still breathing. Suddenly, we all went towards Frieza. Frieza said, "Oh well, at least I know some magic." Frieza would use magic to duplicate himself, and then they all charged up a massive ki blast and blasted at all of us. As we all charged up a massive ki blast too, and our ki hit each other, we began to push it with all of our might, push it with everything we had. All of the earth was in the balance. Frieza's was way stronger than in the original timeline. However, with orange Piccolo, blue Vegeta, blue Raditz, blue Nappa, blue Goku, and golden Cell, not even a more powerful Frieza, not even a Frieza in his most powerful form could defeat him. The only way Frieza could have won is he reached his black form. However, Frieza didn't do that. So as the
ki kept pushing each other further and further. The ki went straight into Frieza's face and launched him into space. Frieza yelled, "Damn you!" as he tried to get out, pushing against the ki, pushing against the blast, but then he saw the sun. As he was pushed straight into the sun, he screamed in agony, screamed in pain, as his body was melted away. We all powered down and fell down. I collapsed on the floor with Cell and began to breathe heavily. Beerus got up and said, "Well done, now I will have to destroy Frieza myself. However, you missed a guy." Beerus pointed as we saw Deborah was gone. After Deborah was shot with a special beam cannon, he used magic to teleport away. I got up, barely able to stand. "You think he'll be back?" Beerus said, "Not soon, but definitely. However, it'll keep things more interesting, right?" Beerus said, laughing.
Vegeta, Goku, Nappa, and Raditz was all on Beerus's planet training, as I thought about maybe getting Beast Gohan, but I was going to wait to determine a power because, he's a little OP, and I wanted to give Hit a fair fight, at least the fairest I could, and I was kind of excited to push myself forward and forward, and to go beyond something. With us all ready for anything, suddenly Champa would appear. As Champa looked over and showed Beerus an egg, but the egg was mediocre. Beerus would then show him the food of the seventh universe. This would anger Champa to no end, as Champa wanted nothing but delicious, delicious food. And he couldn't believe it, that Universe 7 had better food than his universe. This was truly an insult to Universe 6, and he would not let it stand. He demanded to know how he got this good food, and Beerus told him about Earth, and Beerus and Champa began to argue, and Champa decided to have a tournament. Champa said, "I'll have a tournament between our universes, and when we win, we'll get your Earth, and I'll have all the delicious food, and I'll rub it right in your face." Beerus says, "Oh yeah? Alright, sounds like a deal." Beerus and Champa agreed to have a tournament, so Champa left. As Beerus rounded up me, Nappa, Raditz, Goku, Piccolo, and Cell, we would all be the fighters, and we would get ready. I knew about Hit's time skip. In fact, I knew about the whole show. And I was excited to fight, and excited to push myself more than I've ever pushed myself before, so I could defeat Hit and win the tournament for us. So, we all agreed to go out to the tournament. As we were all excited, we all waited there. However, we saw Frost and Kaba. Things continue about the same, but then I look at Frost as I know his truth. And I know that he's gonna cheat, but I'm not gonna say anything. After all, I need my time to shine. Besides, Goku will get back in once he's disqualified. So, we all get in the stands and watch the fight. I'm up next after Kakarot. As Frost wins through cheating like in canon, that allows me to go up, and if I lose, then Piccolo will go up. I end up jumping down to fight Frost. Frost looks at me. "Hello. This will be an interesting battle, won't it?" I simply smirk. As I know he's cheating, I just turn blue right off the bat and charge at him, kicking him off the stand. Frost is able to grab him with his tail, barely pulling himself up. "What was that for?" I end up laughing. "Do you think I don't know? I know about your little cheating technique. I saw it with my own eyes. Saiyans like me have good eyes. The only reason Kakarot didn't see was because he was an idiot." Goku goes, "Hey!" As everyone was confused, the referee checked and he found out Frost was cheating, as he disqualifies him. And since my body does want to fight him, and fighting's fun, but I'm not going to risk it, so I just let him get disqualified, unlike in canon. So as Frost leaves the tournament, the next match is me versus Kaba. As Kaba got ready to fight, I looked at him and said, "Hey, do you know how to turn Super Saiyan?" I figured he didn't, just like in the normal timeline, but things are different in this one, so I wanted to ask to be safe. Kaba said no, so then I smirked and turned Super Saiyan. "Well, guess what, Kaba? I'm gonna teach you, but it's gonna be grueling, it's gonna be painful, and I'm not gonna stop till you're Super Saiyan." I grab him, begin to punch him all over and beat him up, yelling at him, torturing him. Nappa and Raditz are shocked. They haven't seen me do this in years.
And I do feel bad doing it, holding back tears from hurting him. But eventually he does achieve Super Saiyan like in canon. I said, see, I told you it'd be a bit painful though. Kaba said, you did this to help me. Thank you. You're welcome. I see a lot of potential in you, Kaba. Come by to my planet, my universe, anytime. Maybe I'll visit yours. Kaba said I'd like that. As I turned Super Saiyan 2, and we both began the battle, and we began to enjoy each other, enjoy fighting each other. But eventually I knocked him off the edge with my Super Saiyan. Kaba then was defeated, as the next match was me versus Vegeta.
Vegeta looked down upon me. Chugga, chugga, chugga. I saw the giant mechanical beast as he looked down, ready to fight, ready to pounce. I simply smirked and said, I think this will be quite easy. As I flew up from the sky and began to blast ki blast after ki blast after ki blast at Vegeta. As Vegeta fell back, it began to shoot lava beams at me. As I dodged all of his lava-like spit, I went down to the floor. Now this was fun. I could insult him and beat him like that, but where's the fun in that? I like to fight him fair and square. As I was flying around, the room got hotter and hotter and harder, as all of the steam kept traveling up from Vegeta's hot lava breath. I was have to end this right here, right now, as I took a big sigh and began to charge up a big bang attack with all of my might. As I was charging up, Vegeta saw this and began to shoot lava. As I shot the big bang, the lava and big bang hit each other as we pushed with all of our might, with all of our force, with everything we had. However, I turned Super Saiyan 2, as it was just enough for the big bang to go on and hit Vegeta, knocked him off the edge. As I turned back to my base form and went down, as the announcer declared myself the winner. As I was declared the victor, suddenly Hit would jump down and begin to slowly walk up on the stage. As he got ready to fight, I looked at Hit. So, this is between me and you, isn't it? Hit would nod. Of course it is. So you're the strongest on your team? I would like to say so, but the green man is pretty strong, I would say, as I smirked. Then as the match began, as Hit used his time skips, I would try to predict his movements, blocking it and punching him, like Goku did. However, his time skip slowly increased, and I felt like there was no other choice. I began to yell and push into Blue and try to evolve it further. I yelled with all my might, all my strength, with everything I had, and suddenly I achieved it, Blue Evolution. As everyone was amazed, I've been working on this for quite a while. In secret, I had a feeling that I could push Blue even further. As I would charge and hit and Hit would hit me, we began to push at each other. I was evenly matched. In fact, I probably would have won if my stamina ran so low. Since I had to fight all these fighters before him, my stamina was pretty low, so I couldn't keep up. As time skip after time skip came, and as time was going down, I felt like I couldn't keep up this form for long, so I just turned back to my base and said it's over. Hit said, yeah, you probably could have won, but your stamina was too low, wasn't it? You didn't reserve good enough. I tried to, but all those fighters slowed me down. Well, good luck against Piccolo, I said, as I jumped off the ring. The referee was shocked, as Hit was declared the winner. Piccolo would go down to the ring, prepared to fight, as Hit went into his fighting stance. You really think you can take on me? Well, I really don't know you that well, but I can tell you're not that strong unless you can transform too. Piccolo smirks and says, yes, I can. As suddenly he turned orange. Hit was amazed. I didn't even know Namekians could do this. It's not a Namekian thing. It's because I unlocked my potential. Is that so? Your universe is truly interesting. But I think it's time we finish this, Hit would say as he did a time skip, hitting Piccolo off his pressure points. As he flew back almost off the ring, he stretched out his arm and pulled himself back in. And they both began to battle and push each other further and further. However, Piccolo had better speed and strength and abilities. Hit had his time skipped and other techniques that kept him ahead for a while, but it wasn't enough, and Hit knew he was fighting a losing battle. But despite this, he still had to keep going for the 6th universe, for everything that he had. His hit did a massive time skip to push himself further and further, try to time skip as long as he could, but this time it broke as Piccolo punched him. If you're powerful enough, you can cancel any technique, no matter what it is. Piccolo walked towards Hit as he got back up. It seems you're right, but maybe this will work. As he traps Piccolo in a time dimension. As each time he time skipped, he was building up energy, and he began to hold him there. I think this is time I end this. You were a strong opponent, Piccolo, stronger than me. As he began to slowly walk towards him, as he was gonna knock him off the edge. But then Piccolo started to move through the time skip. As he trapped him there like he trapped Jiren, he kept getting closer and closer, but eventually Piccolo broke it and punched him off the edge, as Piccolo was named the winner. Cut to future Trunks. As Trunks comes out of the time machine, looking panicked and worried. But when he sees Goku, he doesn't flip out. But when he sees me, he jumps and pulls out his sword. But then he takes a deep breath. Alright, you're not him. I look at him and say, what's going on? I start to think, it should be Goku Black, right? But why is he looking at me and not Goku? And Trunks explains that Nappa and Raditz came back and it was under Vegeta. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz tore up the planet. And Trunks fought them, but he had this insane potential. And even without Super Saiyan, he was able to match him. I was shocked. Nappa and Raditz, did Zamasu take Vegeta's body and become friends with them? No, that's impossible. This can't be Zamasu, I thought. I must have messed up the timeline so much that Nappa and Raditz are the main trouble. And Vegeta, but wasn't I reincarnated in that universe too? I was so confused on what happened, but I couldn't question it too much because Beerus was mad about the time travel thing and we had to deal with that. But once we dealt with that, I waited for a portal to open for Vegeta Black or where the hell was going on to come through, just like in the show, but it didn't happen. No portal opened. I just stared there, blankly into nothingness. Trunks said, "Dad, what are you doing?" I looked at him and said, "It's nothing. We'll get ready to fight these bastards. Let's get ready." In my mind, I started to think, if it is Zamasu, it can't be because he didn't come through, but just in case, we might need extra muscle, especially with Nappa and Raditz. Maybe there's 3 Zamasus and they all took their bodies. I think we might need to awaken Beast Gohan if things don't go out right. So me, Goku, and Piccolo all went into the time machine, and as we went out with Trunks, suddenly we saw them, Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. As they all landed down, I said, "What the hell's going on?" And Vegeta looked at me and said, "So you're the one, huh, that took my body?" I was shocked that he knew as I walked back and said, What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me." Began to yell, "What the hell happened?" As future Nappa would explain. You see, we knew you were acting different, and since we saved Namek, we kind of had an idea where New Namek was. We didn't really know the general vicinity though, but we had an idea. And when the androids nearly killed us, we escaped and went over there. And we used the Dragon Balls to ask what happened, and Purunga told us the truth. He told us that someone was reincarnated in your body. You took Vegeta's body. You're not the real Vegeta. Goku and Piccolo both looked shocked and said, "Is this true?" I nodded and said, "Yes. I am not the real Vegeta. I took his body." Goku was speechless. So was Piccolo. Goku says, "I guess that explains it. You were supposed to be pure evil, but you weren't. You just got stuck in some bad guy's body." I nodded and said, "Yeah, I did." Nappa and Raditz says we were shocked too, and we noticed that it all made sense. Why you suddenly were all friendly, why you suddenly wanted to train, why you were so nervous around us, even though you were so much stronger than us. You didn't want to have your cover be blown. After that, we decided to wish for Vegeta to come back to life, and then for his personality to come back, and for him to come back to Namek. After that, we trained and pushed each other, but no matter what we did, we couldn't become strong enough. So then, we wished for God Ki, remembering Beerus and the key he had. Now, with God Ki, we'll kill Trunks. But then I said, "Why are you doing this?" "Because you lied to us. You took away our boss." And Vegeta said, "You took away my body. You took away my pride. You're nothing but a copycat."
Let me show you what the original has, as he turned blue and I turned blue too, and we charged, punching each other square in the face. As Piccolo turned orange, Nappa looked at him and said, Oh, I have a special thing for you, green man, or should I say orange man? Suddenly, Nappa transformed to Super Saiyan 4, as Raditz turned blue normally, and he began to charge at Goku, as all three of us fought.
Vegeta began to laugh. Look at that, Nappa even achieved Super Saiyan 4, something that's not canon. I would say, how the hell do you know what canon is? I attained all your memories. He wished for my personality to come back. And when I remembered everything you remembered. You watched the show, didn't you? I was your favorite character. So sweet. But then you took my life from me. And I didn't know what to do, I'm not gonna lie. I had a choice. Maybe I can turn good just like I did in the show. But then I realized something. Everyone in the show achieved powers that you could watch. So I already know all about them. So why don't I tap into them? Use them, all of us, and push each other further. And then I realized something else. As much as I hated it, teamwork is what made them stronger. Working with others, pushing each other. And the more I did it, the more I realized that I needed others to make me stronger. I needed others to work with. And then I came up with my master plan. I'll bring you here, kill you, and get revenge. Then I'll make Trunks join, even if I had to indoctrinate him. Trunks looked up and said, I'll never join you. Vegeta ran down there and punched him in the face as he went back. Shut up, boy, you're half Saiyan. Pretty soon we'll wipe out every other life form in the universe and wish for planet Vegeta back. Then we'll repopulate them with Saiyans and make a perfect universe, a master universe. I looked at him and said, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you crazy? Vegeta looked at me and said, maybe so. But then I turned blue evolution, smirking. Well, even so, I'm above you. But then Vegeta laughed. Remember? I remember everything. I figured you would try that. You didn't even ask Beerus to train you yet? So pathetic. But then I looked at him and said, what? Yeah, future Beerus is still alive. All I had to do was get on his good side, and then suddenly he turned ultra ego and walked up to me. I shook in fear. Of course, as soon as I got everything I needed from him, he took off his armor and revealed he had a God of Destruction logo on him. I killed Shin, making Beerus die, and since Beerus was dead, Whis had no choice but to make me God of Destruction. He said, laughing maniacally. As suddenly, Whis appeared and said, don't worry, I can't get involved, I'm just here to watch. Do you want anything, my lord? Vegeta says, just watch me destroy these pathetic imbeciles, he said, as future Whis just nodded. And future Vegeta charged at me and began to beat me up limb from limb. As Nappa fought Piccolo, Piccolo was winning because his orange form was far more powerful than Super Saiyan 4. Nappa laughed and said, I just wanted to test you. I didn't think you would actually push me this far, but here I go. As suddenly he turned Ultra Instinct. Then, as Goku was battling Raditz turned Beast form. They were all far more powerful than us. I was in fear as Vegeta beat me an inch of my life. This is for taking my body. This is for taking everything from me, future Vegeta yelled. Future Trunks came up and said, please stop this. Dad, I can reason with you. Please, I am your son. Do it. Stop this for me. He says, shut up, boy. You're sounding like a weak earthling, just like your mother. What did you say about mom? As future Trunks began to yell and go into his rage form, future Vegeta laughed, said, I knew you would do that if I said that. I'm proud of you, son. As future Trunks charged at future Vegeta, punched him square in the face, but it did nothing as he simply knocked him out. He smiled and said, you're gonna be a great destroyer one day, just like me. He laughed. And I said, you're insane, you know that? Future Vegeta goes, yeah, maybe I am, but at least I'll be alive. As he started to charge up an Hakai, I walked back and I felt like it was over, but then I blasted the floor with everything I got, pushing up tons and tons of dust, lowering my power levels so we could all escape. Vegeta said, you think that trick will work? As he began to blast the city with everything he had. We ran away, but we got caught by many ki blasts, powerful ones, godlike ones. We were beaten up, bruised, and we crawled into the time chamber. And as we went out, we crawled outwards with broken bones and broken spirits. I would wake up hours later, healed, as I looked around, as they asked what happened. And well, I'd do anything but tell the truth. And I told them everything, every last detail. And Bulma looked at me. So you lied to me for all these years? I've been married to a liar, someone who's not even Vegeta? I looked at her and said, I'm sorry. She cried and ran away. As Nappa and Raditz both looked at me and they simply flew away without saying a word. I lost them. I looked down. I just didn't want to change the timeline. Goku put his hand on his shoulder and said, look, I never met the old Vegeta, but you're a good person. You helped save the world. Sure, you may have lied to us, but you had your reasons. And I still appreciate you. Now come on. We have to get strong enough to beat them. Yeah. We had to unlock forms of our own. We got the Dragon Balls and wished for Gohan to unlock his potential. And Beerus would walk up to me and said, I'm gonna train you. What? That old Vegeta killed me. Usually I don't take reincarnation sides because, well, they're annoying. But the fact that this old Vegeta killed me means that I have personal pride at stake. True, he didn't kill me here, but I need to make sure that he knows who's boss, so I'm gonna train you. Beerus would take me to the time chamber, and Whis would begin to train Goku in another time chamber. Since there's multiple ones in the universe, we found the ones across the universe. So we did it. We pushed each other further and further, more than we ever did before, more than we've ever had or ever thought of. As I achieved Ultra Ego through Beerus' training, for him beating me up and having me heal again and again, and teaching me God of Destruction Ki. Gohan got Beast Form, and we even managed to get Broly in. As we all went into the time machine, we went back. As Piccolo was knocked out, Vegeta was holding him by the neck. I said, let him go. Vegeta just threw him down. I said, aw, you care about him? That's so sweet. That's why you're gonna lose. As he turned Ultra Ego, I went Ultra Ego also, and we both began the battle. As we all began to battle, Vegeta said, it's over. You cannot win. But then I looked at him and started to sing, don't stop, we're in luck now. Don't stop. Vegeta said, what are you doing? As I sang Dragon Ball Z Kai again and again. And as we began to battle, no matter how hard he beat me up, I still continued to sing it. Don't stop, we're in luck now. As then I hit him in the face. And I began to get stronger. What is this? He's just singing. I have something you don't. The power of music, the power of love, and the power of nostalgia. I've watched you fight for years, Vegeta, in all of those movies, and all of those cartoons. And I know how to fight you. And I know your weak points. As I hit him on all of his weak points. And began to keep singing. Don't stop, we're in luck now. Don't stop, we're in luck now. We can find paradise. All we gotta do is go, Freakazoid, Dragon, ho! As then I blasted a Kai at him, and he blasted a Kai too, and began to push all of our energy into this. Goku saw this, turned an Ultra Instinct, blasting a Kamehameha. Beast Gohan blasted his own Ki blast, as Piccolo woke up and blasted into him, and Raditz and Nappa both so blast into it. We put everything we had into it, every little bit of energy, but then Vegeta began to push it more and more and more, and then the Ki blast pushed over at us, and began to hit us. Right before it hit our faces, suddenly Broly showed up. Broly got angrier and angrier, and he blasted his Ki straight into it. Then Piccolo woke up and blasted his Ki into it, as Rage Trunks got up, barely able to stand, and used all the Ki from around and people to blast into it. We pushed each other further and further and further, as Vegeta said, I'm not gonna lose to a copycat. And I said, I love you, Vegeta. I'm sorry that I did this to you. I'm sorry I took away your life. I began to cry, but I promise I'll take good care of my friends for you. As suddenly the Ki blast ended up going straight into their faces, defeating them. Nappa and Raditz died, but Vegeta was able to escape with Whis. Thing would seem normal, however, eventually Zeno would call Lord Beerus and tell him what was going to happen. He told him about the tournament. Beerus was a little shocked, but ever since I told everyone, he did kind of somewhat know, so he decided to go along with it. So he nodded his head and began to gather the best team he could. a team that would be unstoppable. Me, Orange Piccolo, Beast Gohan, Ultra Instinct Goku, Ultra Ego Vegeta, Broly, and Granola. We tried to gather Nappa and Raditz, but we had no idea where they were in the universe. However, we thought this would be enough, as things looked like they were going to be a piece of cake. But as we all got to the tournament, we were shocked to see Moro and Nappa and Raditz on Universe 6 team as Champa began to laugh. Hello, brother. I realized something. If your universe was a main character in some cartoon at one point, maybe you had some good fighters there. I should, get them. Nappa and Raditz smirked as I looked on shocked. How could you do this? If we lose, Universe 7 will be, Nappa says, erased? I don't care about that. I only care about myself. Besides, why do you care? You lied to us for years. Raditz says, yeah. And just sighs, looking away sad. Champa goes, oh, Beerus, soon you're gonna be defeated. Champa says, I think your time is over. Once this tournament ends, Universe 6 will be the dominant universe. And the tournament of power will be ours. Beerus says, shut up. Dominant universe, what are you talking about? Think about it. In another universe, you were a main show. That means you must be the dominant one somehow, for I will become dominant. Champa just says this with excitement as Beerus just rolls his eyes. Anyway, they all get to the stands, and the tournament of power finally begins. To Cell, who has 3 wolves surrounded him, smirking. So, you think you can take me on? As the trio of danger looked at him, they were ready to pounce on Cell. They were ready to defeat him easily. But then he said this, I've seen this show and you guys are pushovers. What show? The show of me beating you up. As suddenly he punched one, and then the others came right at him. They used their poison, they used their stinky tricks, but it didn't work. Cell was simply too powerful. He turned gold, and this transformation was enough to launch him off the edge, and he transformed back. But the Ninth Universe was angry, so they all went after Cell. As I jumped in, do you need a hand? Sure. As we both fought side by side, Beerus smirked as he thought, there they are, the 2 reincarnations battling. 2 super fans, now real characters. I can only imagine how they feel. As we defeat Universe 9, they are erased, and everyone is shocked. And they watch an entire universe go by, and then the fighting continues. As the fighting went up, I would go around fighting foe after foe, but eventually Nappa and Raditz would approach me. I put up my guard and my fist as I looked at them both. You really want to fight me after everything we've been through? Everything we've been through, you've lied to us. Besides, not like the old Vegeta cared about us, but still. That's something. You made us think we can be happy. You made us think we can have a soft and nice life. When in actuality, you were just lying to us to save your own ass. You didn't want what's best for us. I looked at him and sighed and said, look, I'm sorry, But then they both turned blue as I turned Ultra Ego and began to beat them up. Champa saw this and said, put on the earrings. And I said, what? As I realized there wouldn't be no Kefla, as Nappa and Raditz fused. As they both fused, it was Napparats. As Napparats looked at me, I could feel the power coming off of him, and he yelled, transforming into a new transformation I've never seen before. His hair, white and long like Raditz, but he had a goatee like Nappa, as he was big and looked at me. You really think you can take us on, Vegeta? This is what you get for lying to us. To be honest, we shouldn't even call you Vegeta. What is your real name? I would look at him and say, doesn't matter. I'm Vegeta now. And that's who I always will be. as I charged at him and began to punch him straight in the face. As he punched me, and began to go at it further and further. The more damage I took, the more powerful I was, and the more damage I could give to him. Goku saw this and tried to rush in to help, but suddenly Frost would jump in the way and say, "I don't think so." Frost would turn gold, but Goku didn't have time for this, as he turned Ultra Instinct and began to beat him up. Suddenly, Moro showed up as it was a trap. He began to steal Goku's energy. As he fell down, Moro began to laugh. "Oh, Goku, you're such an idiot. We planned this trap from the very start. Use them to fuse and make their teammates go out and help them, then I'll steal all their energy. This battle has already been won. The tournament is already decided, and we will be the victors," Moro said. As Goku felt his energy getting stolen, he had to do something fast, so he moved quickly, running away. As Granola saw this, Moro started to steal more energy from Goku, but suddenly he sniped Moro right in the face. As he got up, suddenly Goku was gone. This was enough to distract him, as Moro looked around, yelling, "Damn it! We were so close!" Granola just sighed. As Goku went to him and said, "Thank you. Shut up, Saiyan. I'm doing this so we don't get destroyed. After this, I'll get my revenge." Goku nods, as we cut back to me and Nap Raditz. Being fused and having blue, their transformation was incredible. There was only one way I could win: if I hit him with a low Akai so I didn't erase him. I had to charge up all of my power. As Nappa began to shoot at me over and over and over again, Nappa Raditz tried to get me again and again and again and again and again. However, I continued to dodge forward, backwards, without hitting him, charging up my attack, until finally he launched a massive key attack right at me, but then I instant transmission behind him, and did a Hakai, which knocked him off the ring, causing me to win, but then I turned back to my base form, falling down. I could barely even stand. Suddenly, Universe 10 came to defeat me, since I was out of stamina. However, Cell jumped in front of the way, with Piccolo defending me, and as they defended me, Gohan grabbed me and began to run away from everything, then gave me some ki. I got up and he said, "Try to keep things low. You'll recover soon, but I doubt the enemy will give you a chance. This ki will make it so you can move properly. Thank you." Gohan says, "Hey, it must not have been easy fighting them after everything. After everything, what? You know, don't you? I'm not really who I said I was. I may have spent years with them, but all those years were just lies," I said, looking down, almost like I wanted to cry. Gohan nodded and said, "Yeah, but even so, I still am glad you came." As Gohan left, I looked down at the ground and said, "Yeah, me too, and smiled. As Gohan got out with Piccolo and Cell fighting Universe 10. As Universe 10 came at them, they were outnumbered and surrounded. However, that didn't matter. Their power was so intense that it didn't matter how many people came up against them. At least that's how it felt. Meanwhile, Broly was out there, as suddenly Universe 11 came and surrounded them. Then Hit knocked some of them out and said, "You want to fight with me?" Broly nodded, and they both begin to battle together. Broly goes, "Why are you helping me? I want to see how strong you are." And that's good to see how strong you are against Universe 11. Besides, we might need to team up to beat that big guy, Jiren. As Jiren looked at them, Hit and Broly defeated Universe 11 after Universe 11 member. Top was ready to get involved, but Jiren said, "I got this." As he fought Hit was beaten up again and again and again. Each time he used its time skip. As Broly was fighting Top, he eventually got angrier and angrier and angrier as he pushed Top against him. Dispo was about to run in there, but as he was running, suddenly Cell appeared, turning into Cell Max. As he looked at him, "You like my new form?" Luckily, I still have my mind. Oh, you probably wouldn't even know what I would be talking about. As Cell Max begins to battle him, suddenly Hit puts Jiren into a time prison, and Broly runs over and punches him off. This makes Top mad as he turns into his God of Destruction form. As Cell fights Dispo, suddenly, though, everyone in the entire tournament feels their energy being stolen, even Universe 6.
as it's Moro. He's stealing their energy, getting bigger and bigger and bigger as he begins to laugh. Everyone runs towards him, but Champa says, guard him, but they're stealing our energy too. I don't care, Universe 6. The only way for us to win is if Moro steals all their energy. Guard him now. Universe 6 guards him, as the rest of the universes try to butt in, but their defense is too high. Frost turns gold and begin to battle them with everything he has. Kaba turns Super Saiyan 3. As they all begin to battle, Moro's getting more and more energy, but Cell has an idea.
But Cell had an idea as he raised his power all the way to the max and continued to raise it. I said, what are you doing? Trust me, everyone do it. If he eats too much, he'll blow up, just like Yakon. We all started to do it, as all the other teams started to do it. Champa said, stop absorbing their energy, it's a trap. Moro said, shut up, I can take it. I can absorb it all and become like a god. No one can stop me. Moro continued to absorb as he got bigger and bigger and bigger until he blew up. The explosion was so big it knocked out all the other teams except for 3 people. Piccolo was able to stretch his arms and pull himself up, and I was able to use instant transmission to get back up. However, there were 2 others. The 2 Namekians from Universe 6 survived. Both of us, however, were extremely worn out because of the explosion. We could barely even stand. We put all of our energy into one last ki blast. As both of us blasted into each other, 2 Namekian turned orange, as Piccolo turned orange, and I turned Ultra Ego, as we used all of our power, all of our strength, everything we had into it. Beer said, come on, you can do it. Champa said, you can do it. Beat my brother. They both said at the same time, as all of the energy, all of the force pulled into each other. And I used every inch of power, every inch of strength, as it pushed through and hit Universe 6, defeating them. As I fell off the ring, Piccolo was the winner, and Piccolo wished for all the universes to be brought back. And the test was cleared, and we won.